One, two, 1, 2, 3, ba-ba-dee. Oh, yeah. What's going on, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here. Welcome back to Groovy Thursdays. We made it all the way to groove number 20. Can you believe it? Groove number 20, and I'm really excited about this one. The song is called The Colony of Slippermen, and it's from the Genesis record, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and the original drums were played by none other than the ultra groovy Phil Collins. I'm also happy to be talking with you again here on Groovy Thursdays. I had to take a couple of weeks off from the talking portion of these videos because I had a really condensed few weeks of learning a ton of music for some gigs I've had lately, and the brain was full. I just had no time to make the talking portion of the video. But I'm glad to be back, and I thank you so much for joining me now. I'll say it right here. If you dig what's going on here at Groovy Thursdays, that you like this video, share it with all your friends, subscribe to the channel, keep bringing on those questions, comments, and suggestions for future grooves. I really appreciate all of that. And with that being said, let's get on to groove number 20. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway has so many amazing grooves on it. I could do weeks worth of grooves just from that record. And there's going to be more to come for sure because, you know, it's Phil Collins and it's Genesis, and I just have to do more of those grooves, but that's down the line. You could tell that Phil's love of R&B music and soul music really comes across in the songs on The Lamb. Phil was also at the top of his game during the recording of this record. I think it was made somewhere in 1974, right around that time, and he was just on fire. So many amazing moments all throughout The Lamb. Myself, along with my good friend Mark Hornsby, did a remake of the whole Lamb called Rewiring Genesis. And hint, hint, it's going to be coming out again. It's going to be coming out again. Hint, hint. Just letting you know. We broke down the songs and replaced a lot of the synths on the record with acoustic instruments, piano, Rhodes, whirly, accordion, lots of woodwinds like clarinet and oboe and all kinds of really cool stuff. And it's amazing what it did to those songs. It was a great project to do. And what I discovered after breaking down the songs into their raw form with the help of John Hinchy and so many other great folks that helped us out on that record is that the songs are very bluesy in a lot of ways, very funky in a lot of ways. The changes are pretty simple. You know, you listen to the record and it sounds hard, it sounds difficult, and of course some of it is for sure. But when you get into just what the changes are in the song, some of it's pretty darn simple. And it was a really cool thing to figure out that it's not as hard as it sounds. There's some tricks to the trade right there. Then on top of it, you add Phil's totally unique sound and feel and groove to those songs, and pow, it's just one of my favorite records of all time. It really is. I think I heard The Lamb for the first time when I was about 8 or 9 years old. My brother Mike turned me on to it. I've been a fan ever since. The groove is in 4/4 time at 125 BPM. And if you play this song on Spotify or something like that, from the very beginning, the groove doesn't start till about 1 minute and 50 seconds in. Everything before that is lots of sound effects and crazy noises going on, and that's where the Slippermen's coming to life in the whole grand scheme of the story. In my demo, I'm playing 2 grooves, and it's basically the whole verse. The first groove you hear right at 1 minute and 50 seconds when the song kicks in, that's the main groove. And then the B section, if you listen to the lyrics, it goes, continually facing with nonchalant embracing. It sort of goes back and forth in a nice little waltzy feel right there. That's the B section, at least that's what I'm calling it. And those are the 2 grooves you hear in my demo and what's on the transcription. That first verse groove is 2 bars long and it repeats. And you can think of this groove really as a shuffle. you're just playing all of the notes of the triplet. So let's break it down first. Think of a shuffle as ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta with your right hand or your hi-hat hand. Got a backbeat in the snare, ta-ta, 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 ta-ta. That's the skeleton of this groove. But in your hi-hat hand, you're playing all the notes of the triplet. So if this is your pulse, right here, this is your quarter note pulse, your hi-hat hand is going ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Or if you count it the triplet way, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. That's really, that's too wordy for me. I can't get all those words out of my mouth. But just all of the triplets. Also, this is a halftime groove. The first bar, the snare happens on an upbeat. That little upbeat on the snare gives it that skip and that little bit of life that's so fun. But the second bar, the snare happens right on beat 3 like a typical halftime feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You layer on top of that every note of the triplet with your hi-hat hand on the nice tight hi-hat, and then on those upbeat snare hits, you open the hi-hat and make that accent nice and just sparky, and it flies out of the speakers. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's such a cool, just small, tiny effect that really makes the groove special. Now let me take you through the kick drum pattern of these first 2 bars. It's pretty darn simple. You play the first 2 notes of each bar, 1, 2. Except going into the second bar, you have a little pickup. It's the last note of the triplet as a pickup going back into the downbeat of the second bar. So here's our pulse. The kick drum pattern is just like this. Boom, 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 boom. Simple. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Add that upbeat snare drum on the first bar, and then right on beat 3 of the second bar, and it's like this. Boom, boom, ka, boom, 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 ka, boom, boom, ka, boom, 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 ka. Layer on top of that the tight hi-hat playing all the triplet notes, and you got this groove. Now let's get on to the second groove, the B section of the verse. With your hi-hat hand, you're not playing every 8th note nice and tight. The hi-hats are opening up. You're playing mostly the quarter notes. And I also added a few more beats into my groove compared to what's on the original that Phil played. The original Phil played is really simple. Boom, boom, ka. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. If you listen closely, his groove is really simple with just the open hi-hat. For my demo, I gave it a little bit of extra sauce, a little bit extra flavor, so the kick drum goes like this. I'm playing the first and third triplet of the first 2 beats of each bar. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 1 and 2 and. And if you think about playing a blues shuffle, at least the way I play it sometimes, I play that pattern for all 4 beats. Boom, 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 choo-ka, choo-choo, choo-ka, choo-choo, choo-ka. Except for this groove, I'm just playing the first 2 beats like that. And for the snare drum, you hit it right on beat 3, which is your typical halftime backbeat, right? Then I also play the third note of the triplet in beat 3. And then I play the last 2 notes of the triplet in beat 4. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, ba, 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 ba. I did it just to add a little extra something to these 2 bars, and it's also the way I played this groove on the Rewiring Genesis record. Then to get you back around to playing the main verse groove again, you do a little accent fill right at the end. 1, 2, go. 1, 2, 3, E4. 1, 2, 3, E4. I'm calling it E in this demonstration here, but if you think of it as triplet, that's the way you speak triplets, it's the second note of the triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, E, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then right on the downbeat, you go back to playing the main verse groove, and you're rocking. And there you have it, everybody. Groove number 20 in our Groovy Thursdays hang. The song is The Colony of Slippermen from the Genesis record, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. The original drums played by the master himself, Phil Collins. I encourage you also to check out the rest of the song because there's some amazing drumming on the rest of the song as well. And if you get the chance, make sure you film and record yourself playing this groove and post it up so we can all check it out. I'd love to see what you do with it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you all right back here next week for Groove number 21. Cheers, everybody.